This past week, I got to go to Vegas. I got to go to Vegas. No, I didn't bet while I was there, but I got to go to Vegas to spend some time with 75 young church and not-for-profit leaders from around the country. And I was a part with two other friends of mine that are pastors. They lead just huge churches, and I got invited to be a part of this to invest in these leaders. And here's the thing about ministry. If you don't know this, ministry is really hard. Ministry is really, really hard. And I know some of you think, you only work one day a week. How hard can it be? Right? That's what you think. Oh, you just download a sermon.com, download your message. You're good, right? Yeah, we need to talk. Sometimes when I'm not on stage, because I'm not going to say church things, okay? But here's the deal. Ministry is really hard. And it's not uncommon for guys and gals in ministry, leaders, especially young leaders, it's not uncommon for them to lose heart. And so it was so good for me just to be able to pour into them in small circles and talk about the stories and talk about the pain and talk about working through that and God showing up and just encourage their hearts. But one of the common things that I heard as I was there with these young leaders was that one of the biggest challenges that they face is this. They have a heart and passion for rescue. I mean, they are let's change the world, and they're willing to change, adapt, bend, shift, do whatever to reach the world. There really are world changers, but they're leading churches full of people who like things the way that they are. It's the biggest challenge facing the church today. I believe that what I heard Bill Hybels say years ago, the church is the hope of the world. I believe that with my whole heart, that the church, as Jesus drew this thing up, is the hope of the world. The problem is we're full of people who like things the way that they are. And so, okay, you can change it as long as it doesn't disrupt me, as long as it doesn't get too messy, and as long as it doesn't make me uncomfortable. Here's the question. Are we advancing the kingdom or our own place in it? My friend Don Wilson leads Christ Church of the Valley in Phoenix. And it's a huge church. They're like 20-some thousand. Anyway, one of the biggest churches in America. He planted that church in his living room with 3 other couples over 34 years ago. It's one of the coolest God stories that I've ever heard. You want to know why he planted that church? He planted that church because the church he was leading at the time grew from 60 to about 500. It was going great. They were meeting in 2 double-wide trailers. It's a great, cool God story. And all of a sudden, the church decided it didn't want to grow anymore. In fact, the church leaders came to him. They said, we much prefer the way the church felt when it was 200 people, and so our desire is to get back to that. And so he left. Now, here's my question. What is that? What in the world is up with that? And here's a question that comes to my mind. What do people outside the church, what do you think people outside the church think is most important to us people inside the church? What do you think people outside the church think is most important to us people who sit inside the church? Can I tell you what it's not? It's not them and it's not people. That's a problem. You go into my office where I work every week on my sermon, and on my monitor, I've got a big monitor, my laptop and a monitor so I can see it because I can't, I'm going blind. And so on top of that monitor, I've taped this little quote. It's from C.T. Studd, and it goes like this. Some want to live within the sound of church and chapel bell. I want to run a rescue shop within a yard of hell. And I keep that in front of me every single week as I'm writing my message to keep me centered, to keep me grounded, to make sure I don't lose this heart. Jesus' heart was for rescue. Am I more about advancing the kingdom of Jesus or securing and holding and getting comfortable in my own place in it?